Welcome to American Info. Due to the seizure of dozens of files from the FBI raid, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas has asked the Biden administration to assist in holding an emergency hearing. This gives them until the beginning of next week to respond to the criminal charges brought against former President Donald Trump. Before we continue, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel and enable the bell notification for additional news. Thomas requested a response from the Justice Department under the Biden administration after President Trump submitted an emergency request on Tuesday. Our findings indicate that Thomas was a judge on the 11th Circuit who specialized in monitoring emergency calls. In the August 15 ruling for the 8 raids, retired federal judge Raymond Erie was appointed sole processor of the seized appraisal files by Florida's Southern District Court Judge Eileen Cannon. All investigations must be stopped by the Justice Department until the review is finished, and Trump's lawyers must look over all seized files, even those that have been redacted. Some of the orders, like not using archives and sharing 100 classified documents with Trump's lawyer, have been appealed by the Justice Department. There are 3 U.S. judges. In a resounding victory, the Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that the Dodge should use archives seized during a LAGO raid to investigate the former president. The ruling also suggests that the Justice Department might want to keep Trump's lawyers informed about what's in flagged archives while it evaluates the seized archives through its own master. In his emergency appeal, Trump claimed that the appeals courts had exceeded their authority to keep lawyers' files. A fact. The only thing that existed before the 11th Circuit was an order that, at the lawyer's request, omitted the special master's duties and scope of review and only stated that the district court could appoint a sole master. Trump's attorney stated that the plaintiffs argued that the appellate order, rather than piecemeal appellate review, successfully undermined the integrity of an established trade show and circumvented the court's broad discretion beyond justification. The public's confidence in our judicial system is also undermined by restrictions on the thorough and open review of items seized during the widespread seizure of the president's home, to enhance the application of the Ministry of Internal Affairs, and to provide environmental projects with transparency and openness. The purpose of this file, which thoroughly evaluates the back file for the typical Trump line, is to locate these files or to have a classification that is less broad. Trump is an attorney for whom there are no researchers. There is a different reason why Trump was announced or published on Tuesday. Even though Trump claims to have released the documents, his lawyers have long refused to provide them. The issue was dealt with by the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals in a decision that led to Trump's appeal last month. When he becomes president, the plaintiff intends to further disclose these files. However, the ruling states that there is no evidence in the record that any of these records were published, and the plaintiff opposed presenting evidence that he published these documents and was not the actual owner. The Court of Appeals stated that the declassification request is, at the very least, a red herring because disclosing the original report does not change or conceal its contents. It does not explain why the plaintiff personally served the documents, even if he filed some or all of them. By 5 p.m. EDT, Thomas requested that the Dodge respond to the Trump surgeon's request. This Tuesday, Matthew Meadows, during his time in the White House, Donald Trump's former chief of staff, has spoken with numerous government agencies. Meadows became genuinely concerned about the transition efforts as the final days of the Trump administration approached, despite the fact that advisors argue that Jared Kushner was once a true leader. But the most bizarre story came from the president's daily briefing. During his tenure, Trump disregarded the PDB. The briefing was pressed to devise a method that might pique the president's interest. How do you feel about this issue? Kindly let us know in the comments. Also, don't forget to subscribe. I appreciate your viewing. Welcome to American Info. Due to the seizure of dozens of files from the FBI raid, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas has asked the Biden administration to assist in holding an emergency hearing. This gives them until the beginning of next week to respond to the criminal charges brought against former President Donald Trump. Before we continue, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel and enable